Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm the Managing Director of Eurowalls, and we are so excited to be collaborating with the Few Far team on the creation of their first city store here at the Rosebery Engine Yards in Sydney. So Eurowalls was created back in 2008 to be an importer of these premium quality European wallpapers. So stunning designs, think from Germany, Italy, a range of different countries, because we noticed a gap in the market for premium quality at affordable prices. So we can import them directly. Obviously, that's our business. And we are really proud to be able to offer Australians and New Zealanders stunning quality at everyday affordable prices. So we have a very broad range of wallpapers and murals. We offer everything from your botanicals through to the grass cloths, cork, a lot of really beautiful textured styles. We have kids wallpaper, single color varieties. There's really something for everyone. And you can search by color or by style on our site. But I think what's also really exciting about our range is that we have a really, really broad selection of murals. And we're seeing obviously that as a huge trend at the moment. Just these stunning panels of one giant design on the wall. And that's something that we have a particularly broad range of, but no matter what you're looking for, you're going to be able to find it with us. Obviously, there's the quality factor. So all of the suppliers that we partner with in Europe are from the finest quality. We don't actually do peel and stick vinyl styles. All of ours are paste the wall. We're traditionalists, so we do that beautiful high quality wallpaper that's going to last a long time. We obviously also look for trends, but also catering for everyone, because I know that for a lot of people using wallpaper, they're using it as an alternative to paint. So we have every color of the rainbow that you can ever imagine. But yeah, I think for me, it would be quality, and then what are the trends that we're seeing, and making sure that we've got something for everyone. So the great thing about our wallpapers, we have about 20,000 different options on our site, but the cool thing is you can order samples. So offering these sort of A4 or A5 size samples, depending on the product, is a really great way to experience them, try them at home, put them on the wall, live with them for a week. Samples are a really great way to test which pattern is going to be the one for your project. I love this wallpaper that Tara and the team have chosen. This is that very moody botanical that we're seeing a lot of. So I think there's been a lot of botanicals over the last few years in that kind of classic green and white colorway. I love this take on it because it's moody. You've got the mustards and the browns and the sage greens. This is actually by a brand called Hohenberger, and they are the most stunning manufacturer. They're based in Germany, and they do a lot with sort of metallics. So if you look at this wallpaper close up, you've actually got a really fine metallic grain in it, which I love, and it just adds another dimension. But I think when we're sourcing, we look at what's trending, and this is very much one of those trends that we're seeing come through. All of our wallpapers are paste the wall, and what that means is they're not going to be peel and stick, they're not going to be self-adhesive to the wall, which I think a lot of wallpapers are these days. So people often feel a little bit confused when they see paste the wall, because it's a traditional form of wallpapering. And what it means that you do is, instead of pasting the paper and the wall and then putting the paper on the wall, which can lead to sort of glue showing through and things like that, you simply just paste the wall. So you would apply your adhesive, paste it, line it up, and it's that simple. If you're doing this for the first time and you've got a particularly sort of intensive project, I would recommend hiring a professional installer. They're worth the investment, and they're going to make sure that you have a good experience. You can install yourself at your own risk with the help of YouTube. I love the way wallpaper has been employed in this space, because it's almost a vignette style. And what I'm seeing actually a lot in trends with wallpaper at the moment is just using a splice of wallpaper in a space. So that might be just a ceiling. It might be just underneath an archway when you walk into a room. It could be almost in a corner detail like art. And what we've done here is just so fascinating, because it's kind of in this sort of pillar style, and it makes it look like an art piece itself. I think people underestimate wallpaper because obviously it had this huge life in the sort of 60s, 70s, even before. And then that kind of died down, and we were just painting for years, but wallpaper's having this massive, massive resurgence. I think it's in the creativity of how and where you apply it as to how it can best transform a space, because it can function like art, and people underestimate how powerful it is in transforming space. I think the reality is that these days a lot of people are going to be using peel and stick, and while that has its purpose, I totally understand that if you're renting a space or you're not going to be there for a long time, paste the wall might not be for you. But really what sets our products apart is that they are just the most premium quality paste the wall products. They're designed to last. It's a stunning range of patterns, trends, and I think really when you're looking at wanting to transform a space, the reality is that when people see that close up, they're going to be able to tell the quality, and you can see at a glance if something is really cheap and cheerful. So I think what sets us apart is, again, that we're affordable, but with that beautiful quality that you see close up. So the first trend I'm seeing is actually texture. So where people were historically using sort of flat wallpaper that had a really paper finish, we're seeing a lot of things like cork, grass cloth, these really natural, beautiful fibers that just create a real atmosphere in a room. Another one, which won't really be a surprise because it sort of comes and goes, but metallics. Metallics is such a fun way to punch up a space. Something else I'm seeing come through is this sort of really return to a heritage English country garden Burberry vibe. In that same vein is this return to chinoiserie. It's sort of another fun way to do florals, but it's not as obvious. We've seen a lot of tropical theme over the last few years, so a lot of green and white prints indoors. But what I am seeing is a trend towards more moody florals, so sort of like the Hochenberger that we've got used in this space here at Few and Far. And the other trend that I'm noticing is actually in the placement of how wallpaper is installed and where it's used in a space. Rethink where and how you're placing it and get quite creative with where you use it. And the other major trend I think we've noticed in wallpapers and murals over the last few years is murals. We're now seeing one giant print printed across panels, and at Eurowalls we actually have a massive range of murals. I think it's just a really dramatic way to transform a space. I think it's such a conundrum when you're doing something as dramatic as installing wallpaper because it's a permanent choice and you don't want to feel like it's so trending that it's going to date really swiftly. So I think if you've got that in mind and you're really wanting to aim for longevity, using wallpaper in place of paint is a really neat way to kind of get that fun of wallpaper without committing to a dramatic pattern. Using, you know, something like a mottled print or a grass cloth, that's a really nice way to introduce the power of wallpaper to a space, but where it's not going to date too quickly. I think to our point earlier, things like, you know, your classic blue and whites, they're not going to date, small florals, things that aren't too overwhelming, but actually still add that color and vibrancy. So I think it's why a lot of people have chosen a powder room as a really fun way to experiment with wallpaper. It feels less permanent in a way because it's a smaller space. Putting it in a smaller room, using it instead of paint where you just go for sort of a single color or a texture, or going for something like a grass cloth or a traditional print that kind of gives you that sense of the drama, but without feeling like you're going to be over it in 2 years' time. I would say actually go slow. A friend of mine recently told me that she wanted to wallpaper the inside of her cupboard, which I found the most fun thing I've ever heard. Using something like a cupboard or doing a powder room or a smaller space, I would say start small and just kind of feel your way through living with something. The more confident you are of your own style, the more you're going to like your choice. So self-trust is a really big thing with interiors, specifically with wallpaper, again, with the permanence of it. So working with an interior designer is a really great way to make sure that you've sort of got that person to bounce off. And then I also think ordering samples and living with them for a while. So it's sort of like when you first move into a home, they say don't renovate and demolish straight away, live with it for a while. I would suggest the same thing. So live with a few wallpaper samples, make sure you really like it. I think if you're wanting to go for that stunning Few and Far aesthetic where it's the vintage and the rustic and mixing the old and new, it can be quite a commitment to need to source those pieces. So I would encourage working with an interior stylist if you're looking to do an aesthetic like that, just because they're going to make the process so much easier. I love working with the Few and Far team and their stylists are phenomenal, so would always recommend them. But again, I think any interior stylist is going to be the way to go when you're looking to incorporate wallpaper or kind of pick out a specific aesthetic for your home, because you're going to have that person who can source for you, can help validate the choices that you're making and make sure that you're kind of curating in a way that makes sense and is cohesive with the space that you're working in as well. So if we've inspired you today and you're keen to get your head around interior design, you no longer have to visit the Few and Far team in Berry or Huskisson. The great news is they're now in Sydney, so definitely make sure you pop into their Rosebery store. Oh, this looks amazing. Wow. The art looks amazing. That was a really first shot. That was incredible. You can find us at eurowalls.com.au for a huge range of wallpapers and murals. We're actually launching some new collections very soon, so make sure you check them out. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and make sure that you're following the Few and Far and Eurowalls teams on socials as well.